Welcome to ATB TV. I'm Darren Dance here with Peter Morganti on this Friday afternoon, the 17th of September. Pete, we're right into the middle of spring now. Some fantastic racing this weekend in both Melbourne and Sydney. But as we all know, no one will be on course. And my understanding is at this stage, there's some hope that we might have a little bit of a crowd at the Melbourne Cup Carnival week. But it's looking a bit bleak.
I've pulled the shutters down, Darren. We're locked down here in Ballarat, so I've given up. I've pulled the blinds down, just about turned the lights out, TV off. Yeah, no, look.
Yes, well, it's just.
I'm glad we got some good racing to watch on TV.
Well, we got no football because we're having a bye. Ballarat's locked down because they've got 9 active cases. I think Geelong's got the same, but they're open. So it's mystifying, really. But anyway,
yeah.
I don't think anyone cares what we think. But I suppose we better go back and preview the half a dozen runners we had last week. And I guess you want to go all the way back to, what was it? Moonee Valley.
Flemington. No, was it Mackay Diva? Stakes Day, yeah, we're Moonee Valley might have been the week before. We don't want to remember, that's why. I'll start off with Never Again, who was, look, it was a 200 to 1 chance and basically ran like it. Finished 10th, beat
Never
one
a chance.
Never again.
Never a chance.
No.
Mystifying, really. Mystifying. It's just obviously not up to that grade at the moment and was never in the hunt. So, you know, he needs to drop him back a grade and find some form, that horse. But he's still talking the big talk with that horse.
He'll get it right one day. Look, there'll be, I think, even likes of Cup Week and that, you get those handicap races I think we need to get back to with him now, and you might strike a 1400 either at Flemington or Caulfield that'll suit him down the track. Obviously, they're a bit nippy and a bit good for him when you get to that group level. A bit later on, we had Serious Suspect in the Bobby Lewis. He finished 11th. Just looked, strange to say second up, but he just looked a tired and flat horse. Probably flat, the operative word. Just seemed to travel okay, but just didn't have that customary kick that we used to with the horse. Saab's going to change it up a bit from now on. He's going back to the farm, change the environment, and hopefully get him back in the spirit of racing like he normally does now. Probably means a little drop in grade as well. But yeah, at least Saab's trying something different just to get him away from Flemington.
Yeah, look, he got beat 6 lengths there in a Group 2 race, which, you know, had the Newmarket winner in it. It was a little bit of the Newmarket field in that race. Look, he's clearly, in my opinion, not a Group 2 horse in the spring. And we spoke about this during the week, but he's probably a listed group, maybe Group 3 in the spring. He's probably at that grade over the summer season. You know, he got beat 6 lengths in a pretty good field. That's probably where he's at. I think the only thing that, you know, we're probably all a little disappointed was when he was challenged, he didn't actually kick like he has kicked in the past. Hence the commentary around that he raced a bit flat and doesn't appear to be going as well as he was. He's run those sort of times of the winner, but was 6 lengths astern. So, look, Saab's taking him back to the farm, as you mentioned, and we've got to drop him back in grade either to a, you know, he's a 95 rater. He's probably got 0 to 90 ability. In the right race, he can pinch it. But in the spring, there's nowhere to hide. So, you know, we're not going to be winning Group 1s and Group 2s in the spring. we might be able to win a benchmark 90, or we might be able to sneak a listed race. So it's going to be really hard to place this horse where he can win, particularly early in the spring, maybe later in the spring when a few drop off. He's just going to need everything going his way to win a Group 3 in the spring, or even a listed. So I was pretty happy, with the discussions with Saab to look at dropping him back in grade and just see if we can get a win back on the board again. But we've been heavily penalised for winning that race on New Year's Day, taking us up to a 96, because that's not his level in the spring. It might be in the summer, but anyway, that's the way I see it. So we'll look for him sometime in October in a listed race, and he just step back in that grade. He can be a chance. But that was a very strong Group 2.
Yeah, I've often heard a lot of trainers say that horses rated between 90 and 100, it can be a real black hole. You need to be able to compete at that level consistently. If you drop off a little bit, he'd have to carry 62.5 in a benchmark 90. That makes it tough. In open handicap, depending on what's in it, you might get 54 or 55, and they're decent races. And obviously, if you can't crack it at listed or Group 3, you're in the middle of nowhere. So, look, it's nice that we've been able to get a horse to that level, but unless they can really get to the top end, which is Group 1, you can find it tough going. So, and like you said, spring stakes racing is so much different to summer stakes racing. It's a 2 or 3 length gap at least. Anyway, I'm sure Saab will be doing his best to get him right, and we'll see what we can find in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Sunday, we had a good little surprise here with Onology, the Hinchinbrook, who was, doomed not to race there at one stage, and we're probably all thinking at the 300-metre mark, maybe he shouldn't have went to the races, and then, he hit the line hard. I think he had a couple of horses behind him in the home straight. He only had one in front of him at the winner post, and he was only a length or so off that. It was a really good debut.
Super debut. Onology by Hinchinbrook out of our mare More Bubbly was destined to go through the yearling sales last year, but unfortunately, when we pre-sale scoped him, he had a breathing issue, which meant that he wouldn't pass the scope at the sales, so we had no choice but to pull him out. Obviously, we weren't able to do anything with him because of that breathing issue, so the breeders elected to operate on it, give him the time, and try him at the races ourselves. So ended up getting stuck with him, and it was a bit of his build-up had been quite nice without being brilliant, and to see him on the corner second last and then fly up the rail and run second, and probably, I don't know, maybe another 50 metres ticket for the win. But it was an outstanding debut, so we'll be really interested to see what he does second up. I think he's put in to go to Geelong.
Yeah.
So, he's one of the good stories where a tieback operation and a gelding operation's actually been successful for the horse. And look, he is well bred. He's a lovely animal. And Matthew Williams has done a great job with him to get him going. And he can breathe, so that gives him a real chance.
We've had 2 or 3 riders on him at the trials and the races, and none were told that he had a breathing op. And when they've mentioned it, or Matthew's mentioned it to him, they haven't heard nothing. So it's been a real success in that area. And it's a difference between having a horse at the races and one that can't race at all. So beautiful big horse. He's a massive animal. If you ever get to see him live, he's got a life after racing as well, Darren, but hopefully he's got a couple of years on the racetrack beforehand. I think there was a Vobis race at Geelong that Matthew had picked out. It must be next week. Or the week after, sorry. I think he was going to give him 2 or 3 weeks between runs. On Monday, a horse that has since passed through the Inglis online sales in Lord Lennox. He finished his racing days with us with a strong third. That was his grade. He looked the winner on the home turn. Couple just got him late, fell into third spot, and since been moved on.
Yep. Look, I think it's fair to say he's been a disappointing animal since being brought over from Germany. He was a cheap stayer for Robbie Griffiths, and he won a couple of races, but he's been disappointing overall. And Robbie decided that we'd run him on the Monday and he'd be sold on the Wednesday. So he realised 27,500, and he's going to join a new stable. So it just shows you the power of that online sale, how strong it is. And horses are selling and trading well there. There's normally about 300 horses a fortnight go through that sale. So it's a good way to move these horses on and get them to a good home for the future of their career.
And couldn't have had more perfect timing with a nice run too. I mean, prospective owners, I think, knowing they're getting a horse that's in some sort of form and is up and about and fit and free of injury. Yeah. Wednesday we're at Bendigo. We had an indifferent run and a very good run. We'll go with the indifferent run. Basically finished last was an Irishman who had excuses first up that he might have sort of got his tongue back. I'm not too sure. I know he's pulled up a bit scratchy since his run on Wednesday, but he's certainly at the crossroads, this horse, where probably nowhere near the trip he needs to be at. We need to get him to a mile, but I know they didn't make much ground at Bendigo Wednesday, but you would have expected him to pass 2 or 3 in the home straight. He struggled to do it. A lot from well back in the field did, to be fair to him, but we need to see a big improvement.
Certainly at the crossroads. He's certainly not going well and hasn't gone well for some time. Got into a real bad habit of pulling in his races, and the stable has been a best part of 6 months trying to straighten that out by getting him to settle. But as would be, he kind of settled last week and stayed settled. Didn't really fire a shot and jarred up in the end. And, we haven't even got to the firm tracks yet. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the future of the Irishman is at this point. That was only second up, interrupted prep. So I'd say there's a run or two left for him before we're going to have to bite the bullet and determine what his future is. So it's really up to the trainer and the horse now, to tell the owners where we're at and what we should be doing with him. But it's not really looking that good just at the minute.
Sounds like desperation's calling. I did notice in the post-race that they may look to revert back to riding him more positive now. If that means the horse races best that way, I suppose we've got to have a look at it again. And probably out to 14 or 1500. So, but it might be 2 or 3. Well, it might be 3 weeks before his next run, judging by the way he pulled up. The good part of the day was Miss 10,000, who after about 14 months, I didn't realise she'd been off the scene for that long. She ran a terrific third behind a smart horse of Hawkes's. She kept hitting the line, which references that she's going to get out in trip. Be very hard to beat, if not next start, at least third up.
Yeah, well, she's bred to run a trip, and as you say, she's been off the scene a long time. She wasn't broken down or anything. She just she was a light little thing at the end of last prep, so we gave her a really good break to let her fill up and grow, and then we had her in pre-training going good, and then she got a bad series of abscesses when she went into training, and just meant that it took them a long time to get through the winter to try and get her over that. And they produced her there at Bendigo on Wednesday. And she's run a really good third, first up, short distance, against a pretty smart horse that'll no doubt win in town. I think this filly will win in town when she'll win in town once she gets over 2,000. And as you say, it'd be hard to see her not winning in the next couple of runs on that run. But no, I'm very happy with that run. And it's a big effort to get her back in good form after such a long interrupted preparation.
You think too the timing's pretty good, Darren, because we're sort of heading towards the end of September now. So by the time spring's out of the road in 6 to 8 weeks, she's probably 4 runs deep into her prep, and that race in town or even a Friday night, there's plenty of them coming up. She'll certainly get a chance to perform. And I just love the fact that she's honest and consistent. That gives them every hope that, you're going to get a horse that gives you 110% each time she goes around. So that's it. So we had Oh, well, Lord Lennox is gone, but missed 10,000 in Enology were the two black bookers out of that lot. And we live in hope for Sirius and Never Again to find the right race in time, and hopefully an Irishman ridden maybe the back in the days when he was racing up forward confined form. Going forward, we'll see a quick one go around at Tatura tomorrow. If ever a horse isn't, it's not a negative draw of gate 14, it's probably Midnight Hussy, because I think she'll make light work at the wide barrier and lead. She's having her second race start after a third at Ballarat on debut, going back, that'd be 6 weeks ago now. Out of the gate's quick, but she got tired late, and I think that's always been the issue, is can she run much further than 1,000 metres? But there was a couple of little issues come out of her first run, which I hope they've got, or they think they've got sorted out.
Yep. Well, I think he's found the right race for 1,000 metres to Tatura on a Saturday. If she's ever going to be a city class horse, she should be winning here. Yeah. I'd imagine. I don't know what the odds are, Pete. I haven't had a look, but
I had a look. They weren't up there, but they weren't up
yet.
No, not about an hour ago. They weren't.
All right. Oh well, they're probably still not up. But
the good thing out of her form,
she's very fast.
Yeah, that Ballarat 4 where she ran third, Universal Lady that won the race has come out and won again, and the horse that ran second of Hayes has since come out and won and ran second at Pakenham. So the horses that have beat her have come out and won again. So, you know, there's a little bit of strength in the form line. But admittedly, she was beaten 3 or 4 lengths behind them. But she takes any improvement, well, she'd be certainly hard to beat at Tatura.
Got to be even money, I would have thought.
I would think so, yeah. Sunday, nothing. Off to church. Can you go to church in lockdown?
No church.
Monday, we have 3 runners. Go in order of race. We have Eagles and Pins. Probably be just over 3 weeks since her debut. She is second up in a 1,400 metre race, race 1, Dean Holland gate 4. Haven't really spoke to Paul in terms of a winning chance, but it's always awkward working these maidens out because you just don't know the form lines. But Shanley has to improve slightly on her Warrantyville run to be an each way home. She's going to get better, obviously, as we get out of trip.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasing debut. Look, as I said last time, she's bred to run a mile plus. 14 might be still a little bit short for her, but I think she'll be competitive, and you know, hopefully we'll be looking for her to win 3rd or 4th up over a distance.
Yep. Madam Mischief's in a 1,400 metre benchmark 58. Now, Pat was going to go to Coleraine to a 0 to 58. He actually got a point knocked off her rating by the handicapper, and 0 to 58 and benchmark 58 don't sound much different, but the thing is you can get 63 riders running around in a benchmark 58, whereas the 0 to 58, they're all 58 or less. But this race is pretty weak, and I think Pat's quite happy to take on this field. She led up at Penola, I think it was Penola over the border. Got taken on a little, but I just hope the girl just lets her run. It was 4th up last preparation she won when Michaela Lawrence rode her, and just let her roll along. If you're going to do that, Horsham's the perfect track to do it. 4th up, yeah, she won't get too many better opportunities to be back in the winner's stall.
I'm sure the instructions will be really clear. Just jump to the front and don't try and give her a hold up. Just let her roll.
Yeah.
And if you get rolled, you get rolled. Bad luck. But that's the way she has to be ridden. And I'm pretty sure Pat will be drumming it into that rider. And I'm sure she'll execute it well. So this is her chance to get back in the winner's circle for us.
No, I agree. You might back her up 5 days later. No, she gets her chance. Black Mirror, a mare that we've been all very happy with the way she's progressed through this preparation. She gets out to her first Semi-trip for us, 1800. Again, a benchmark 58. Drawn gate 4, TO News it on. We were mentioning prior to starting this episode that Mars have got a horse in it that's drawn gate 1, and hopefully tactically, if they don't watch this, if we lead, we might be able to keep it bottled up inside us somewhere behind us and get an advantage and kick on the turn and get the chocolates. Sounds easy.
Yeah, well, Horsham's a good track to do it. So if she can find the front and the favourite, well, what I assume will be the favourite, Karen Mars horse, does get tied up behind. It's not a long straight there to get out. But look, this mare's in good form. As you say, she's stepping out in distance. We've got a 2,000 metre race or a 2,100 metre race earmarked for her at Sandown in a few weeks. This is a bit of a stepping stone to that. So, if she's going to be winning at Sandown, she'll need to be winning at Horsham, Mar or no Mar. So, look, she's honest, she's genuine. I think she's had the last 2 runs have both been thirds, full of merit. And I'm sure she's got a city win in us. So let's hope we can knock that off sooner than later. But I'd expect her, with all luck and everything going right, she'd be very hard to beat on Monday.
The 2/3 were both in benchmark 64, so she drops back a peg in class as well. So fingers crossed with Black Mirror. So that's all we know. They're all the accepted horses to run. But going forward, we'll talk about next week as well, Darren. We'll kick off Nothing Tuesday. Saab did have she's got class, maybe going to Kite, but you decided against it. She'll go to another race inside a week and kick off her career. Go to Wednesday. We've got Hasseltoff in a benchmark 78 over a mile. Just show you how competitive these races are. He's a 73 or 4 rater, and he's 26th in order in a 78 rated race. So he'll get a run, I would say, but it just shows you how many horses are looking for that type of race. But if he gets a run, based on what he's done so far this prep, it'd be awfully hard to beat.
Yeah, well, I think we're all in the same situation. We're all running around on a Wednesday this time of year trying to get our rating up so we can get into some of these nice races during the spring, later in the spring. So Hasseltoff's in that boat because he's had so many seconds in his career. That's where his rating's at. So whilst he's got very, very good form and he's raced really well against some good horses, we're just not going to get a run in some of these big races until we just need one more win to get our rating up towards that 78, 80 mark. And then we can just walk into the races we want to walk into. So look, the horse in flying, he's in great form. He's on an upward trajectory. He belongs on Saturdays. He belongs in a listed or a Group 3 somewhere later in the spring over 2,000. But hopefully he can go there Wednesday and knock it off. But there's probably going to be 6 other blokes with the same plan. And, he'll need to produce something very good to be winning that. Sometimes it's harder to win those sort of races than win those black type races. So, yeah, he's a little bit of a victim of running second so many times. I think it's 8 seconds. So had he have won a couple of those, he certainly would be back in the Saturday grade now. But look, the horse in great order. He's sort of one of our horses for the spring to follow, and he's a magic looking horse. So I'm just really looking forward to see what he can do on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look forward to it. Thursday, I don't know if it's pre or post midnight, but it's over in Listowel Island, Melburnian, 1.5 mile race, 2,400 metre handicap. The entries have just gone in. Acceptances won't be until probably Tuesday next week. But the intentions are to go to that race as long as conditions or track conditions suit, I presume. Yeah,
well, she's probably only going to have 2 more starts for us before she goes into the mare sale up there in Tattersall. So Tony has entered her for next Thursday. So I'm not sure if there's much rain around up there at this stage, but she does need a bit of cut in the ground. But as I said, she's probably got 2 more runs for us, and then she'll be moved on to being sold. So just hasn't rained up there this year, so we've really struggled to get the runs into her. But you know, she's racing probably the lower best, and probably the sooner the sale comes around for me, the better.
Yeah, no more late night viewing. We'll roll into Friday. We possibly could speak prior to this or maybe after it, but we've got 2 runners of Lindsay Smith's going to Coleraine. 2 runners that have probably frustrated us and the owners a little bit. We'll start with Write Your Name, who obviously since the Sandown run, where he probably had no hope of winning the race, but just didn't give it much of a yelp at all. He didn't sort of try much. Write Your Name. He's going to go to he drops in grade. I think he's dropped 5 points in his last 3 runs. He can run in a benchmark 64. He was thinking about claiming, but he thought a big horse, he can carry the 61. Declan Bates, if he's available, will ride. If it's not him, it'll be Yendel. 1,300 metre benchmark 64 at Coleraine. Compared to where we have seen this horse, if he's not winning there, Darren, he might be another one that's on that crossroads. We use it the crossroads, should I say.
Yeah, well, we did conduct a survey with the owners during the week to see if they wanted to push on or move him on, and it was a locked split vote. So we've decided to push on to, I think it's Coleraine Cup Day.
Yeah.
He can run there in the 1,300. As you say, he'd want to be winning or running very close there to warrant going on with, but we'll just have to sit back and watch. But yeah, his last couple of runs, he hasn't really given much. I'm sure on that track they'll be riding him forward because it is a nice tight track there. So we just got to hope he draws nice, and you know, he gets the right run there to be competitive. But he's probably getting towards the end of his career, and I suppose at this stage we're trying to just get him back into form to see if we can win a race or 2 before he moves on.
I think Field's at 10 there at Coleraine. If he draws 10, I think Lindsay said he'd be ridden aggressively. So his heart rate might be a little higher than 86 after the first 400 metres. If it all goes well, there's some nice races over 1,400, the likes of Hamilton, Horsham and Warrnambool and all that you can build a horse his confidence up and back into form again if it all goes well. But if it goes the other way, well, you know, we know where we are one way or another. Money bags. Obviously, a few little issues since a terrific run at Caulfield. And he went, I was just about going to say S-House. He went ordinary at Moonee Valley. Since then, Lindsay has looked after his legs a little. He was feeling it. Instead of taking the risk of maybe going back to Sandown or back into the city where those races are strong, he sort of said to me, what about the Coleraine Cup? $50,000 race, 1,800 metres. Riding positive or positive enough. He trialled well at Coleraine. And we'll see one way or another whether he's back on track.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad move. They are hard races to win, these country cups. I'm not sure if he's really done much at 1,800 before now, but
second, one run for a second.
I'll be interested to see how he does go here. Okay, he didn't fire at Moonee Valley, but he's never fired at Moonee Valley. It was wet, and also he just doesn't like that track seemingly. So I think, you know, if he handles the track at Coleraine and it's tight, it's probably a bit like Moonee Valley. Maybe he's a big track horse, I don't know. But anyway, he's got him nommed there, so I guess he'll look at running him there. I think there's some other options available as well in town, but at some point we just got to send him to the races and have a look at him and see what he does. But if he did pull up feeling his joints and knees and he's had that time to get over it and they've got him back ship shape, I think he had a wither ball the week before, so he's kind of been in the wars, the horse. So he would have missed a few gallops along the way. And, you know, if you can tune him up and get him ready for next Friday, then hopefully the real Mr. Moneybag steps out, because when he's at his best, he's capable of running against any horse. But as I said, and I'll say again, you know, he's 7-year-old, I think now, Pete, 7-year-old.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So, you know, he's another one. They just can't run forever. And at some point, you know, their form peters off a little bit, and then you're kind of stuck. So we've just got to see how he unfolds. Lindsay's doing everything he can to get him back into good form, because the alternative is, to retire him or move him on. So we've got to try and get him back into good form if we want to keep racing him.
He's another horse a bit like Serious Suspect. He's in that 80-odd bracket. Is he good enough for just edge listed, top-end handicap? But he got around Mildura all right. It's similar to Coleraine. I know it might just be a total, mystery run at the Valley. Maybe it was his feet. We were looking at obviously going to Ballarat this weekend, but the 7 to 10 day withholding period with treating his joints and all that sort of made that a bit iffy. So Coleraine it'll be, but like you said, and the assistant trainer actually advised me too, Damien Prowse advised me that there was suitable races at Sandown as well. So I'm sure he'll be nominated for them as well.
Well, I'm tipping after that comment there'll be no bottle of red in your Christmas stocking this year. Probably be filled with methylated spirits and a matchbox.
I love the passion of an owner that's thinking about his horse going forward. So I don't know. I forget the text from Prowsey.
All right. Well, that's our runners. That's it. There's a few there. 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 8 lining up over the next 7 days. So surely there's a winner or two there, Pete.
We want them. We want a winner or two, Darren.
And I think we'll be very excited Sunday week when Steinem resumes down at Mornington. I think that's when we'll all be up and about. So
Yep.
At this moment she's untapped, so I hope she stays untapped. I suppose the other thing I wanted to mention is one of our very good clients, long-term client, John Marnie, turned 71 again. I'm not sure if this is the 3rd or 4th time he's turned 71. But not sure if he watches each week. But John, happy birthday for the other day. And I don't know. How old do you reckon he is? He rode 71. In the 1924 Melbourne Cup.
How old was he then? He was 25 then, wasn't he?
I can't remember how old he was. He actually seriously did ride in the Melbourne Cup, John Marnie.
Yeah.
Looking at him, you wouldn't think so, but he did.
Yeah, no comment. What was the cup? In the 50s?
Yeah, he was on a horse trained at Camperdown, I think. Can't come up with it now, but probably in the 50s.
It could be in the 50s.
As a young lad. So.
He'd be 86 if it was in the 50s. It might have been in the late 60s, maybe. Sorry, John, I wasn't calculating too well then.
Anyway, he's not a happy man now because he sold his house up there in New South Wales and he wants to go and live in Queensland, but they won't let him cross the border.
Oh, Jesus.
Due to the pandemic and all the rules. And he's got to move in with old Ernie for a few weeks until he can get a ticket into the quarantine facility. So he's going to be nice and grumpy for the next couple of weeks until that happens. Feel sorry for his partner, Linda. Anyway, there you go. And I guess the other one I wanted to mention.
I was just going to say, better than being here in Ballarat, John. So you can't even get a beer here. No. And condolences to the Biggs family, Pete, with the sudden loss of Graham Biggs from Ballarat. That came as a big shock. Biggsy, as he was known, first met him up at Darwin, I think in a trainer's stable. The boys were there. They'd had a big day on the grog and they decided they wanted to buy a share in Dandino, and they did. And that's where we got to know him, and we had a lot of fun with them and that horse. And it was great sadness to hear that he passed away last week. That's the problem with the pandemic, Pete, is we've lost touch with so many people physically. You don't get to see them or you don't get to talk to people, and we didn't even know he wasn't well. So we send out heartfelt condolences, and many people in Dandino will know Biggsy. He was larger than life. I think he raced in Bathurst in the motorbike and sidecar event, and he was always had a smile and a joke and loved to drink, and I'm sure all those boys up around Learmonth will miss him. Yeah. And we send our heartfelt condolences
to the family and his friends.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. The just that touch of, I suppose it's the family umbrella that you've built with Liz over the years. And you know, I was only just thinking there earlier today, one of the biggest events that meant we all get to meet on the one day was the Christmas party out at the farm. And, you know, you take that away potentially for 2 years in a row now with 18 months of not going to the races. It's just statistical race, and you're just a name in a book, and we can only sort of, you know, liaise through this avenue here, or maybe emails or on the phones. And certainly takes a hell of a lot of fun out of the game.
Well, I think when we get back to the races, it's going to be very dangerous, number one, because they're all going to be pretty thirsty and in for a good time. And we might need name tags for some, because we mightn't recognise them if they've aged badly over 18 months.
Yeah, the other side of it too is I'm not too sure my suit will fit when I have to go back to town. So we might have to have a fitness campaign before we start showing up at these events, but that's me anyway.
And I think, in all seriousness, what's really sad is that, you know, some of these horses have been in racing for 18 months and we've never seen them run. Like,
no.
You know, you think about some of these horses, just haven't been able to go and watch them run, and they're halfway through their careers, Peter. A lot of people have been robbed of getting the full enjoyment out of the ownership by just not being able to go to the races. My understanding now is that, yeah, there might be limited numbers going back to the races from around November, but, you know, I'm being told that there's no chance of anyone getting into a manning yard until probably March, April next year. So that, you know, to be able to mingle with the jockey and the trainer and as an owner with the other owners and share in that pre-race, post-race excitement, that's why we do it.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we're in remote control mode, and, you know, we're lucky to have racing.com and, you know, Channel 7 and all the rest of it, and Get On and all those shows that we can sort of try and stay in tune a bit. But it's just, personally for me, it's not the same.
No.
It's just really not the same. And, you know, I get to catch the horse and put the horse on the truck and see the horses at the spelling paddock here and at the pre-trainers and trainers. But, you know, I would love to see some of these horses run, and, you know, we're very excited about some of these horses for the spring, and, you know, we've got very little chance of seeing them in the flesh, and that's the most disappointing part.
Yeah, I think good examples, a horse like Hasseltoff, I think for the first maybe 4 or 5 runs of his career, yeah, they were able to go, and I think some were lucky to see him win it. I think it was Flemish, it might have been the day that Serious Suspect won, but for the next 10 starts, you haven't been able to see him. So, you know, and 18 months in a horse's career, in a lot of cases, is half their career.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and, you know, one would almost argue now we're in a worse position than we were 12 months ago.
Yeah,
so,
certainly no better.
No, well, it seems really weird now that we're all able to go to the Warrnambool races in May. Like, that seems like a dream time ago now.
How lucky were they?
They were very lucky, Warrnambool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's pretty much all I had, Pete. So we'll get on air next week. Hopefully we'll have a couple of winners to talk about. We'll certainly have some more runners coming up.
Might have a Colorado Cup.
Hopefully on Sunday here, as far as Victoria goes, we're going to get our road map, Pete. Going to get our road map out. So
might be lucky enough that we might be able to take our masks off to have a drink, Darren.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to have to cut a hole and put a straw through them, I reckon.
No,
so you'll be going Sunday down the. Oh no, you're in lockdown. You can't go anywhere. I'll be able to go down the park and have a non-alcoholic picnic with another household. No excitement in the wind and the rain. Yeah, don't they know we live in Victoria?
He's a funny man, Dan.
Well, he'll say he's only taken medical and health office advice. So, oh dear.
We're all in it together, Darren.
All right, Pete.
That's what he keeps telling us.
Yeah,
we're all in it together.
We're in it together. Yeah, I don't reckon that's right.
I know anyway, 1,000 reasons why he's in it better than me. All right, good luck
with everyone with their runners.
Yep. Hopefully, we've got 3 or 4
And
winners to talk about.
We'll reconvene probably next Thursday or Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.